Hello there, I'm Master Dennis Vega. This is my student, Nelson Cardona. I want to say hello on behalf of the Farang Mosul Federation. We are going to work 5 areas of defense of Farang Mosul, the 5 ranges. We are going to work the closest distance, close body range. We are going to learn exercises that will improve your speed and reaction time. Farang. Let's start with the first basic reaction exercise. Our opponent will attack us the following way. We place our right hand in the X form. We do a little hit, and my hand goes to the face. My opponent's hand, he does exactly the same thing. This is our basic exercise. This will help us react faster. If we notice a normal speed, it will help us react in different areas. On the other side, we do the block, we pass the hand, and his hand stays on the outside. A small hit, and our right hand faces his hand. He does the same thing. This is the way to do the exercise. It is very important that we train with our right leg forward or with the left leg. We now know the basic exercise. Let's do it again. We block, pass, and start in this area. Once we can flow in this exercise, we can see the attack. What does this attack mean? If the person attacks us like this, we can respond like this. We respond according to what he does. We do the basic exercise and always according to the speed we are given. We attack with our first hit. It is very important that the hit goes in at the same time as the block. When we do the speed and reaction exercise, we cannot wait to attack. It has to be done at the same time. He attacks me and I react. He attacks me and I react. Let's start the basic exercise again. And we attack. Within the basic exercise, we can also work in the area of locks and defensive techniques that will help us to react and to build up our speed. Let's do the basic exercise one more time. Then comes the hit with our technique. For example, we can work the exercise with speed. In this way, we attack the opponent. We grab here. We pass the arm over and we do a lock to his hand. We take him back in order to throw him. Let's work the basic area again. Within the same technique, we lift our arm and we throw him down. Let's go back to the basic area. And now we're going to do our second technique. What we're going to do is that when we are here, we pass to this zone. We enter so that my elbow is close. I pass in what we call a high elbow. We pass on to the high elbow and we go into this position. We enter with all our body. I place my leg here and I throw him. Here we have to use our whole body to execute the technique. Now he cannot move and I can control the environment. We are still in the basic area. Let's review the movements. And now we are going to execute our third technique. From this motion, we pass on to the high elbow. And we go into this position. From here, I move my body back in order to grab his leg. From here, I'm going to grab his right leg, and I lift it. Here we control his leg and his arm. From this position, my right arm is in control. From here, I can throw him down. The best way is blocking his leg, and he will fall with all his body weight, and he could hurt himself. So we're going to do it slowly. I grab his hand, and I throw him. This is the lock. Let's continue with the basic area, and now we will see the fourth technique. This is one of my favorite techniques. We begin with the basic exercise, and this is when we block. We can also attack from here. Our right hand comes here, and we do this motion. From this position, my right hand grabs here, and we do what we call a figure 4. We toss our left leg behind, and we throw our opponent. To finish our technique, it is very important that our right hand comes here. I step on his left arm, we throw our body back, and then we stretch. Now we're going to see technique number 5 within the same basic format. Let's see it. We start the exercise in order to review. We have our hit here, and we follow in the same area. And this is what we're going to do now. From here, my hand is right here, and I do the lock. I put my body forward, and I throw him. Once I am here, I can do the lock to the arm and finish him off. The following technique is what we're going to use when we work our throws. One of the throws I like to do a lot of times is the one we do when we are working in the first exercise. We are here, and we go back to the same format that we saw before. We turn, and when we do our hit against our opponent, we grab his elbow from behind. We go in, and we place ourselves in this position with our legs together. Now our hands grab his leg, and we throw him, and he falls on the floor. Now we are going to do the next or second exercise for developing speed and reaction. We saw the first one and the hit that our opponent can use mostly. In this second exercise, within the basic area, we are working in this position, in this part. When we block, instead of hitting, we go in this position. From the other side, our hands must be in this position. Once more. We're going to start now with the techniques within the second exercise. Let's start. Basic position. Our knee goes in this form. We are here, but not up, but more like if it was like a spear. We are in the basic exercise, and we go on to number 2. Our knee hits. Our right hand grabs his neck. Our left hand goes under his arm. We close the lock and we pull up. We can strangle him standing up. Let's go on to the next or second technique within the second exercise. From here, we will strangle sitting down, or it will be a choke sitting down. Before, we were standing up. Now we're going to do it sitting down. The knee, and we go into the choke standing up. But now our left foot is stepping on our opponent's right foot. I walk forward. I continue walking until I reach this position. I go up, and now we are in a sitting choke. The next technique is within the number 2 exercise. We are in the basic. We go in. We do the same thing with our knee. And it looks like we're going to choke, but we do a little change, a little switch here. Our right hand goes from behind, under his left arm. When we are in this position, we do what we call the plane. I put my leg here, and I throw my opponent down. Be very careful with this technique, because you could hurt yourself and your opponent's neck. My right hand goes down, and my right leg stretches. And here is when we can break his neck. Let's see another technique within the same format. He attacks me. Basic exercise number 1, and we pass on to number 2. I throw my knee in and I grab. My left hand movement is very important. After doing this with our right hand, goes behind his arm, and we do lock in form 4. In this position, the most important is the base. We are going to do what we call the horse stance, and we stay here. This leg has to go inside. The leg stretches, it has to be straight, and we fall backwards. This leg goes here, and we fall into this position. From here, we cross to the other side, and we do a Kimura lock. The following technique is within the number 2 format and is what we call the falling arm. Basic exercise, and we are here again in number 2. We attack, and we go into the basic format of the choke. But now we're going to move our elbow inside in this position, and we grab his right arm. From here, we can also do the choke. Our left leg goes up front, in front of him. And we're going to throw him on the floor. When we fall on the floor, I have his arm under control. My left arm goes over, and we finish off with the choke. The following technique is what we call the breaking of the arm and lock to the leg. We continue in the second format, basic exercise, and we go into position number 2. We attack in the same way as before, but now my left arm goes here. Watch this. Here, we can break his arm, we can hurt his arm. We can see it from the other side. We hurt his arm. When we go in, we try to hurt his arm. And our force, we take his leg forward. Did you see this? I put my right hand down and I grab his leg. We push him and we fall into this position. After doing the technique for breaking his elbow and the leg, we fall into this position like before. Let's see what we can do from here. My hand is going to control this. I put my body weight backwards. My right leg passes over, and I stretch my left leg. My right leg goes here, up, and I stretch my left leg. My right foot comes here. I put my body back. I do the lock to the leg, and once more, lock to the leg. We are in this position. We already did the first lock, putting our body back, and for some reason, our opponent puts his leg over in order to release himself. I'm not going to permit this. I stretch, and when he tries to pass his leg over, I trap him with the right leg. Here, the most important thing is to pass the left leg over. I do the control this way. I go back, I stretch my legs, and I have another lock. We call this one the knot, because he cannot get out of this one. Let's review. I have put my leg up to this position, and even here if I want. Since I'm not very big, I cannot reach. I put my leg over like this, and I control. We did the knot, and I put my body back. It's very important that the legs are stretched. If I want to move because I want to get out of this position, I take my left leg out. I kick backwards. When I'm here, I turn with him. I go into this position, and I do the lock to the leg. The next technique within exercise number 2, following the line of locks to the leg, would be this one. We go back to the basics. We pass on to number 2. We attack. But this time, I take his arm to this side, towards my right arm. We go in, behind his knee. I grab with my left hand and I control. I go up and take his leg here. I close my legs and pull in order to throw him down. I don't take out my arm this time. This is important. I use my gluteus towards his leg, and I do a lock to his leg. Following the same format, in exercise 2 of the leg locks, we go back to the basic exercise. We go in for number 2 that we already know. Our knee goes in this time. And this time, I take his right arm on this side, on the outside of the opponent's arm. My right leg goes around his right leg. That's why we call it the rolling technique. We go to his side. When I fall, I go to his side. I continue with my leg in order to do the lock. It's very important that my left hand controls his leg. That way, I can hit him if I want. But the objective of this technique is to do the lock on the leg. I push my pelvis forward and I do the lock to the leg. One more time and lock to the leg. Let's continue with locks to the legs and see another technique. Let's continue with exercise 2. We go from 1 to 2 like we've seen before. When we go into number 2, my right hand, in this case, goes up and passes over to this side. With our left hand, we control his arm. This part is very important. Our right leg comes here. My left leg is going to go right between his legs, this way. We control, and we finish with a lock to the leg. From format 1, we pass on to 2. We knee, we throw, and our arm passes over here. We grab his arm. My right leg passes over here. My left leg goes in straight between his legs. We control. If you are aware, my arm is in this position. My arm goes up, I grab and do a lock to his leg. I turn a little to this side, and then I stretch to the other side. We have already seen basic 1, basic 2, and now we are going to see basic 3. We have already seen the techniques in number 1 and 2, and now we're going to join them together for exercise 3 for speed and reaction. We start with number 1, and from here, what we want is to go from number 1 to number 2, and we continue in number 1. For number 1, we can pass on to number 3 in this manner, and he reacts. Have you seen it? And number 3, we are going to do, and we're going to change to number 1 to 3. Or we can change to number 2. We can go outside, and we can change to number 3. In order to explain number 3, we are going to start from number 1. And our right hand goes up. We attack. Instead of passing here, we pass to this side. One more time. We go in, and from number 1, I want to go into number 3. I'm in this position. He reacts and goes in to the center, and we continue the reaction exercise. Let's go back to exercise number 1. And from basic 1, we are going to pass to number 3. In order to make it easier, we are going to skip number 2. From number 1, we go on to number 3. As soon as we feel that he stops us, if he doesn't cover, we solve the problem immediately and easily. If he stops my attack, this is the right precise moment. My elbow goes in to hit his biceps. I hit with my elbow in this area, especially in the part of the muscle. That is going to hurt him. It's not going to be easy for him to use that arm again under these conditions. Then I hit with my elbow, and then I hit here. I stretch my leg in order to throw him. Let's repeat this. From exercise number 1, we pass on to number 3. We go in, we hit, we throw, and we fall into this position. Let's continue with the first technique. We are already in number 3. We start with number 1 and we pass on to number 3. Here he blocks me and I attack. I can hit with my elbow here or there. It doesn't matter. I sweep his leg. My right leg goes in to hit over his leg. If his leg is on the floor, he is going to be in pain. Do you see it? We walk and we can hurt his ankle. Let's see the next technique. We are in basic number 1 and we pass on to number 3. Let's review it once more. Here, we pass on to number 3 and I go back. I have problems here and I go into the other side. I'm not going to unbalance him with my leg, but I'm going to go in to grab his body. But this time, I'm going to go for his leg. What's closer to me? This is the way I grab. I'm going to pull from the back side. I'm going to turn in order for you to see it better. I grab, I put my left hand in, and I lower my knee. My hand goes in this way. You don't do this, but this. I'm going to lie behind his legs. Now I change my position from here. What's going to happen? He's going to fall backwards on his back. Once more. Basic exercise. We pass on to number 3. We place ourselves in this position. Grab, go in, and throw him. Once more, face to face. Position yourselves and go in. Let's go on to the next technique in area number 3, or hit with the backhand fist. He attacks me, and remember, I go in and hit his muscle. My hand comes here, and I do this movement. My head doesn't come here because he could hit me. My head goes here, and I grab his leg immediately. I throw my body weight backwards with this movement. I go back. When we do the movement, do you see how it is? We fall like this. I throw my body backwards, and I hit with this leg to his leg, and this one passes over. We are in position. 1, 2, and then he falls. We throw our body to this side in order to do the lock. We are still in exercise number 3. We are in this position. You already know where we are. I notice or feel that something stops me. I go in and hit. I go onto this side, and I go in with all my strength, grabbing in this way. I go to his side. But when I go in, I'm going to place my left leg behind his left leg. I put my leg in, and he falls in this position. We continue, and we are already in position to hit. Let's follow format number 3 of the speed and reaction exercise. But this time, when we are in this format, he stops our hit, and I don't go to the outside, but I go inside. From this position, I'm going to execute the grab. From here, my left hand passes to this side, and my right hand goes in to hit. We pass on to this position where both his arms are under control. Let's see it once more. I go in, I hit. Once we have finished hitting this way, I'm going to hit his trachea, and I control his arms. Let's continue with the technique. We enter, and he blocks. We hit, and we control his arms. From here, my right hand goes to this side. I place my left hand behind his shoulder. We execute a circular motion. From here, we do this motion. My hand goes to the area of the forehead. I hit here, or on the nose. My left hand passes to grab him, and I am in this position. Obviously, what the technique does is this: a neck crank, or simply I place myself here, and I carry out a takedown from the back. We don't want to do it now. There's no point in hurting our partner. Let's see it once more. 1, 2, we attack. We do this format, we grab, and we are already in this position. Let's continue in the same line where he attacks us, and we use the format of exercise number 3. We attack again, we execute the trap and hit, and we do the same movement as before. We bring him here, but my left hand stays on the lower part of his back. And from here, we execute the choke. Following the same format and doing the same choke, we're going to do a different technique within this area. He is not strong here. My left hand passes over to this side. It's the same format we did or saw when we did the plane, but this time my arm does not go up, but it goes forward. When we do this movement, after the choke, my left leg moves backwards. I do it this way, and the person is upside down. From this position, I like to go in from here and place my shin over his head. I pass this arm over here, and now I have an arm lock. Let's see exercise 4. We start with the basic exercise. From the basic, we go on to number 3. We go back to the basic, and we can pass on to number 2. And now, we will go on to number 4. From 1, we can go into this format. Here, and instead of going down and attacking like in number 1, or from here, we can go down and attack like this. From this position, we can grab. We are in basic number 1, and from this position, we grab. Within this format, we include a hit, which we call the ladder kick. We hit here in this area. We are within the basic exercise. We grab in 2 and do the ladder kick. We already did number 4, and now we are attacking within the number 4. Since we are in this position, we call this the area of the mouse trap. We are here, and we hit our opponent this way. The most important detail is that this arm that is now under control, I must never let go of it. We are here. We hit that I don't let go. I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever we want, but the arm is under control all the time. I never do this because he could get loose and he could grab me. Let's see it once more. The basic number 1. From the basic, we go to number 4. Now we start to hit. It is very important here that I go towards my opponent if it is necessary. Or if he advances, I can continue attacking him. It is very important that in this format, I do the trap, the mouse trap. We will continue with the format number 4. As you already know, we trap here and hit the leg. We use the trap to hit our opponent, and now, from here we pass over our left hand. We are in this position. We grab the arm. I pass my left hand here. I move forward. I place his arm, forming an L. My hand comes here, and I simply shift my weight on this side, taking my left leg back in this way. Our opponent will be in this position. From here, we go on to the goose lock. Let me turn in order for you to see it better. This is the position. Let's continue with the next technique, which we will call the reverse goose lock. We start with the basic number 1 and go on to 4. We attack. We can do different hits here. We can use the mouse trap zone, but from here, when we hit, we can go to this side, like we saw before. In this movement, we do this. We pass here. We place our left arm over his shoulder and lower it. Let's see it. We are in 2. We hit within the mouse trap. We go in this way. Here we have the reverse goose neck. When we do this to his wrist, we push it and break it. We bend his wrist. We go down and place his elbow in his head and throw him. He falls in this position. Now I'm going to place my shin here. I twist his arm and close the technique for more control. Here, I can grab the hand and hit. The following technique is within the same format. When he comes in, we go out this way. We kick and we do the mouse trap. We grab the same way. But this time, we're going to take our arm backwards. We turn him to this side until we reach this position. From here, we put the elbow inside. I place my hand here, and my arm comes here, like if I was hugging my opponent. This is the way we do the lock. Within the same format, basic number 4, he attacks me, and I go on to this position. We do the same thing, hitting within the mouse trap. From this position, my left hand comes here. I grab him using my left arm. I pass my hand at the same time that I put my left leg forward, and I grab him. Now, my left leg goes in before. I throw him. And when I do that, my right hand grabs his hand. Let's see it once more. We are already in number 4, within the mouse trap. We pass our leg, and when I'm going to throw him, my hand grabs his hand. This is the way we will finish. Here I can do a change or a shift, and I finish off with the lock. We have already seen number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Now we are going to see number 5. We want to see all the exercises together without showing all the techniques. Let's start with basic number 1. We'll do it by numbers. I can go on to any exercise I want. Then I can go back or skip on to the next one. I go on to the next one. I do this exercise, always practicing with a partner. Now we're going to go on to number 5. Instead of blocking, we're going to pass to this side, like in the basic exercise. This time, when we are here, we go in with this hand. I block, and I pass with the other hand. I go inside, I trap his hand, and I attack. He is going to do the same thing. Watch. He has attacked me. I block, and I go into this position. When we block and we attack, it is very important that his arm is under control. I lower it, I control his arm, now I let it go in order for my partner to do the exercise correctly. And this is exercise number 5. Within exercise number 5, we are going to start to see the techniques. We are in exercise number 5. When we do this grab, I attack. But when I feel that he is going to block or blocks, I open my hand and I pull his arm towards me. Watch. I grab, I control his arms. And from here, I can hit under the belt or below. I have him under control. Once more. From 3, I pass, and I control him. Let's continue with exercise number 5. I switch, I go in, and I do the trap to the arms. But now I'm going to place myself behind. When I throw him in a real situation, I do not let go of his hands. But during training, I don't want to hurt him. I trap his arms and I throw him. But for exhibition purposes, I'm going to let go of his hand. We let go. When you train, do it like this. I grab and I throw him. Following the same format with the number 5, now we are going to see a trap, what we call the special trap. When we go into exercise number 5 doing this, we can do our movement. He blocks, I pass his arm to the inside. It's very important that my hand opens his arm this way. We have already seen these hits. I open to this side. I pass his arm here. From this position, my body can move towards or inside, leaving this arm completely trapped. This way. From this position, I pass my hand here, in that way. Now, I can achieve the trap. From here, I can throw him on the floor, but when I do this, I can break his arm. That's why I'm not going to throw him. As you should know, this technique can continue into a throw. Let's continue within the format number 5. 1, 2. This time I don't go to the side or attack, but I go in and I put my body backwards. I place his hand here, and my hand comes here. My hand goes here, not there. 1, 2. And when we are here, automatically, I bring him down. Let's see it. My partner will fall in this position. I grab his fingers, and I take him to this side. I take him to this side, and I do a circle. When I close the circle, my left hand comes here. My shin will pressure his back, and he cannot get up. No, he can't. We are going to see the next technique. We pass the arm, but this time we go to the side. We attack, and we go back to the trap. But this time we are not going to trap this hand. We're going to trap the other one. My left hand will grab his hand and turn it, twist it. From here I move my body forward, and I put my hand here. I put my body close to his arm. We are in this position. Now I can knee him, throw him, or simply just do the lock. Exercise 6 is exactly the same as exercise 5. In this one we block and we attack, but in this one we do not block. Watch, this is number 5, the one we saw before. But in number 6, I do not use my left hand, but I do this instead. Let's see it from the other side. My hand stays here. This is number 5. This is number 6. And we continue in the same format. We can do the same technique we saw before. All the techniques we saw in exercise number 5, we can apply them in number 6 too. For example, from number 5, we can pass on to number 6. Number 6 is with only one hand. That's it, only one hand. This is exercise number 6. Let's continue with exercise number 7. Let's review number 5. We switch to 6, and we go on to number 7. When he attacks me, instead of doing what I did in number 5, instead of working like in number 1, from here, I continue the same course, and we move this arm this way, and we move to the side from the other side. When he attacks me, I move to this side. If he attacks me fast, I move in the other position. Once more. We are here, number 5, 6, and 7. And we move to this position. We already have all the exercises up to number 7. Let's review all of them so you can see how we train all of them in order to develop speed and reaction time. It's not necessary that I look at him because my body knows exactly what is happening. I can pass on to number 5 and to number 6 and to another one. The same thing, we pass, I go in, which is number 7. From this position, we are going to work what is the first technique in exercise number 7. We pass to this side, and we move in this motion. My right hand grabs his elbow, and we go on to this position. It's very similar to the techniques we saw in number 1, but in a different area. We go in, number 7, we control. Our partner must be in this position, and we are going to start our first technique from this perspective. When I am here, I grab his neck, but I can also knee him. Look at the way I'm going to trap him. I hit, and my left leg goes over. Now it looks like I'm going to throw a kick, and my partner falls into this position. We have already thrown him on the floor, using our reaction and speed in order to get to this position. Let's continue with the technique. We are going to place our opponent to the other side so you can see it better. From here, I can hit him in the face. I hit and place my right foot behind his head. We call this the smashing the head technique. Look at the way I fix my position. Our foot is already behind, and we have already seen the technique. I go down and place my leg on his head. We are in this position. From here, I take his arm over to this side. His thumb must be looking forward. I'm going to be able to hit him easily from here. I'm going to pass my left leg over his head. I go back with my body and I do a lock to his arm. I have already shown this lock to the arm. But I'm going to do something very important. I pull out my left leg, and with my right leg, I look like I'm going to do a kick backwards. I turn my opponent, and his head will hit against the floor. From this position, I move my left leg, and I pass my arm, and I get to this position. I put my right leg backwards, and I can easily break his arm here. We have already reached this position, and my arm is trapped here. I put my right leg back, and I break his arm. But we are going to work other areas within this format. I hit with my hand over his head. I will hit the floor in order to not hurt my opponent. When his jaw is exposed, I pull his head backwards. Let's repeat. This is another format. From within this area, instead of going forward, I can sit on top of him. I can control his hand this way. So he is looking forward. I pass my arm and I pull. Let me turn in order for you to see it. His arm would be in this position. Let's continue within the format number 7, and we are going to see other techniques. From here we change once more the position, and we go into format number 7. We pass from this area, but now we are going to throw him like before. We are going to use another technique. We move our body into this position. We move him to this side. Let me turn for you to see it better. From here I move to this side, and we pass our hand over to trap his arm. My pelvis goes forward, and his arm goes backwards. Here we have a lock from the other side. We are still in format number 7. We go from this position to this one, and we pass our arm here. We are now in a position that we have been working on. We can hit like we've seen before. Now I place my body here, but not sideways, like in the technique we saw before. I go in, and my right hand grabs his jaw, and I throw him backwards. From here, I can finish him off with a knee. I have him trapped, and I can choke him. Now we are going to see exercise number 8. Let's go back to the basic one. And from here, we can pass on to number 3, and we continue working in order to gain more flow. Now we can go back to number 1 in order to switch to number 8. When we are in this position, we can attack. And number 8, when he attacks me, there aren't any blocks. What I do is I redirect his force to the side. Let's see it again. We are in number 1, and from here we pass on to this movement. I attack him, and he attacks me. This is similar to when someone attacks us and we move to our side. The hand does not matter. We can do it this way in order to move. Let's continue within format number 8. Now we are going to see another technique. When our partner attacks us, we start with format 1 and pass on to number 8. When we switch to number 8, we are in this position. I take his arm back and go in. He attacks. 1. I go in and I grab the arm. I trap his arm with power. I go in. 1 and 2. I go in with power and I use my right leg to help me throw him. He falls in this position. From here, I put all my weight on him, in the guard from this side. This arm goes back to hold this one, like this. I pass my left leg here. I walk back, and I have him trapped. I can hit him now easily. Following the same format, when my partner attacks me, I do this and go in. Let's see a different takedown now. My arm is going to go behind his knee. Here. He attacks me. 1. And I put my hand behind his knee. From here, I pull his arm and throw him, where I throw him on the floor. Let's see it again. When my partner attacks me, pass, and we get into this position, where I throw him on the floor. We reach this position with the technique we used before. I am going to grab his arm with my right hand. It's important that the elbow is pointing to my shin. I can do this technique standing up, sitting down, or on my knees. I then pass this arm to this side, and I use my other hand to help me switch. I move him and pass his arm to this position. If you notice, my leg is in, and we can do 2 important formats within this technique. The first one, my foot is here, and I fall on him. I have to put his arm over there. I pull his arm. In a real situation, it would look something like this. The foot would be here, and I pull. From here I change the format and pass my arm here, and I have his arm trapped. I place my hand here and fall back. Let's go back to this format. From here I pull his arm and I do the goose lock. From here I can do the chicken wing. And now we're going to learn the technique called pull and recover. He attacks me and I use format number 8. From here, I go into his legs and I pick him off the floor. I grab his left leg. I have a lot of possibilities from here, but we're going to start with this technique. From here, I go into this position and I do a lock. We have reached this position after throwing our opponent on the floor. We have already seen one possibility, but now we're going to pass his leg behind, and I place his leg here. Watch. I put my weight forward, but I'm going to grab his neck to hurt him. We grab like this. Once here, after doing this technique, we're going to do a different one. I grab his toes this way, and my right arm goes in here. We do this lock. It is very painful. We are in this position. We have already seen what we can do from here. Now we're going to pass on to another format. From here, my left leg goes behind. I move my body to the side. I pass this leg here. From here, I use the leg from this side. And from here, I can do the lock to the leg. I grab his leg, and I do the leg lock. If we want to hurt him more, we push him this way. Let's go back to the first format we did. But this time, we're going to take our leg backwards, and we're going to do this. My leg is going to do this movement. We pull, fall, and I stay positioned here. I take my body weight backwards, and I change hands. I fall backwards in order to control him this way. I grab his leg, and I do the leg lock. I have this hold, and from here, I do this, and I put my body to the side. Following the same format, we are going to do a different technique, which is a forward takedown. We are working on our partner in the basic area, and we pass on to format number 8, switching our position. I go in between his legs, and I lift him. I throw him forward. I fold his arm to the side, and I do the lock. Another of the techniques we can do in format number 8 is when our partner throws an attack. I follow the same course of his arm. We are in this position. I grab his arm and I simply hit him on the leg. He's going to fall on the floor in this position. Let's repeat it. He attacks me, 1, 2, and 3. And the partner stays in this position. Now we are going to do format number 9 of our speed and reaction exercises. Let's go back to the basics again. When we go out into this area, in this position. I lower his arm and attack. Our partner does the same thing. He lifts my arm and attacks me. Let's see it again. Basic one. Here we move his arm and we attack. After that, we're going to go back into the basic one and follow up with our work. Now we're going to see our first technique within format number 9. My partner attacks me, and I go out into this position. I move his arm, and we start the exercise. When he hits me, I pass into this position. Once more. The same thing. From here, I take him down to the floor. We are going to finish with format 10, and we are going to join all the formats in order for you to see how you can do all the exercises together. But first, we are going to see number 10. Let's start with the basic. From the basic, we can pass to this area, attacking this way. We grab and pass to the other side. I block and start. Let's start with the basic. 1, 2, 3. Let's start. It's simple. Now on the other side. We go back. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have already seen formats 1 to 10, and we are going to join them in the speed and reaction exercise. Let's see it at slow motion speed, and then we will do it faster. That way, when you train, you will see how your reaction and speed develop over time, and you become more effective. Let's start with the basic. Remember, you do not have to follow any order. From here, we can change to the other side. We pass the arm. We go on to this exercise. We can go from here to here. We can go to this side. Let's go back to the basic. This is how we can play, and we can use hits and stops whenever we want. Let's go back to the basic and change to number 2. We can change to any format we want. After working on all the techniques, we will develop more perception, we will be faster, and we will be able to work on any of the established formats. Farang, and thank you for your attention.